Thank you, and very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and we warmly welcome you all to the fourth session, in fact, the final session of CPD program for the mechanical engineering sector. And today we have a very special gentleman who's having lots of practical experiences. And last 3 days, our main focus was to go along with these basic designs and the applications. And today we are going to touch and glance the practical aspects, installation mechanisms, and at the same time the testing and commissioning basics as well. As we mentioned in the beginning, because within 2 hours or a session we may not be able to study everything, but our core objective was to make an eye-opener, at the same time just to guide you where and how your learnings has to be, at the same time your ethics and the ways, the best practices of managing projects, designs, particularly in the mechanical engineering sector. So we are done with energy aspects at the first session by Professor Atalagi, and then Engineer Suranga discussed about the designs of air conditioning, mainly with the mechanical ventilation. And the third session was with the plumbing, sewer, and including some aspects of the fire protection as well by Engineer Tushara. And as I mentioned in the WhatsApp group as well, these forums are considered to be certain alumni, and we recommend you to be in touch with these WhatsApp groups for future courses, knowledge sharing, and the other opportunities, even the business, maybe business opportunities, maybe job opportunities, maybe some other openings as well. Therefore, we recommend you to be in touch with the academy. At the same time, to obtain the certificate, the soft copies, and even if you wish to have these hard embossed copies, then these all messages, the communication platform is nothing but just this WhatsApp group. And there may be some special emails by the organizing committee for you to clarify any special updates, and you can contact Mr. Kumar or Mr. Danushka for that purpose. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to highlight again the ground rules, how this operates, and I'm sure that all of you are familiar with the process, and the chat box is open only at the Q&A session, and the attendance marking is essential through Zoom platform or even in the YouTube live streaming. We will put a Google form to mark your attendance, most probably in between or just after the core session, where we about to start the Q&A session. You might see an attendance sheet. It will be open for a window of maximum 15 minutes, where you have to mark your attendance through that Google form. මම සිංහලෙන් පොඩ්ඩක් කිව්වොත් එහෙම attendance mark කිරීම ඉතාම වැදගත්. අපි අද අවසාන දිනේ හැටියට තිබ්බටම අපි අර WhatsApp group වලත් කතා කරා වගේ අපි recommend කරන්නේ මේ WhatsApp group වල ඔබට රැඳී ඉන්න කියලා ඔබේ discretion එක මත ඔබේ කැමැත්ත මත group වලින් exit වෙන්න පුළුවන්, කිසිම ගැටලුවක් නැහැ. නමුත් මේ certificate ලබා ගැනීම සහ ඉදිරියේදී විශේෂයෙන්ම අපි alumni එකක් හැටියට අපි කියන්නේ ස්කෝල් එක ගත්තත් අපි alumni එකක් හැටියට කතා කරනවා වගේ ආදිශිෂ්‍ය සංගමයක් වගේ, ඒ වගේ මේ වගේ අපිට රැඳිලා හිටියොත් එහෙම අපි හිතනවා මේකේ කණ්ඩායමක් හැටියට අපිට මොකක් knowledge එක share කරගන්න පුළුවන්. ඒ වගේම යම්කිසි අවස්ථා, ඒක ව්‍යාපාරික අවස්ථාවක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, නැත්නම් job opportunity එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන්, ලංකාවේ වෙන්න පුළුවන්, එහෙම නැත්නම් consultancy service එකක්, මොන හරි දෙයකට opportunity එකක් තිබ්බොත් අපිට මේක share කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒත් එක්කම ඔබ සතු යම්කිසි වැදගත් දෙයයි මේ ශ්‍රී ලංකන් community එකට වැදගත් වෙයි කියලා හිතන information තියෙනවා නම් අපි කියන්නේ අපිට ලබා දෙන්න. අපි ඒකට ඒක share කරන්න. ඒ තියෙන නිරවද්‍යතාවය සහ එහි තියෙන වැදගත්කම සැලකිලිට ගෙන. ඊට අමතරව අපි මුලින්ම කතා කරා වගේ අපිට ප්‍රශ්න අහන්න අවස්ථාවක් අපි Q&A session එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒක තියෙන උග අපිට core session එකෙන් පස්සේ අපි core session එක කරගෙන යන්න අපි දේශිකට අවස්ථාව ලබා දෙනවා. ඒ අවස්ථාවෙන් පස්සේ තමයි අපි Q&A session එකට යන්නේ. ඊට අමතරව YouTube එකේ අපි live streaming එකක් යනවා. යම්කිසි අවස්ථාවක power failure එකක්, එහෙම නැත්නම් signal failure එකකින් ඔබට මේකට සම්බන්ධ වෙන්න බැරි වුණොත් එහෙනම් අපි recommend කරන YouTube එකෙන් මේක නරඹන්න. අංක 1 දෙවෙනි අවස්ථාවේ හැටියට ඔබට පුළුවන් screenshots කීපයක් තියාගෙන මිනිත්තු 30 පරතරයන්ගෙන් වගේ මේ screenshots කීපයක් තියාගෙන ඔබට පුළුවන් එක prove කරන්න සංවිධායක මණ්ඩලයේ අවශ්‍යතාවයක් ඉල්ලුවොත් එහෙම මම මේ දේශනයට සම්බන්ධ වුණා කියලා. If you have any difficulty or if you have any technical failures in terms of power failures or signal dropouts, and if you lose your connectivity, what we recommend is to prove to the organizing committee that you at least keep 3 to 4 screenshots with the intervals of 30 minutes, so that if you need, or if the organizing committee demands to prove your attendance, and you can keep your screenshots, and most probably you will get another Google form to fill out with an option of uploading those screenshots as well. Today is one of our most important session, which we discussed about the design aspects, and today mostly we focus on the practical aspects and the lessons learned and the experience to be shared by one of our senior project and design involved mechanical engineer, and his name is Sanjeeva Ratnayaka. Originally, his basic degree from University of Peradeniya under the discipline of mechanical engineering, and he joined with Shin Nippon Technologies. Many of you, I'm sure that many of you are familiar that those days it was Shin Nippon Technologies, and now it's called Shin Nippon Lanka, one of a Japanese origin M&E construction firm, and that's where he started his career. And later on, he involved in many of the projects current in Sri Lanka, at the same time in Singapore, Maldives, and even the Middle Eastern region, many of foreign experience as well. And currently, he serves as the Director Technical for the KS Trading. And as I mentioned earlier, he's one of a knowledge tank where we can get many of experience, because not just about the theories, but he has a vast knowledge of practical aspects. And if the young engineers or many of the professionals who are in the industry, if you have any issue, I'm sure that this gentleman might have faced that issue before us. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, let's move to the session today. Engineer Sanjeeva will start the session, and I'm sure this would be one of a mouth-watering session. Engineer Sanjeeva, it's over to you.
Thank you, Engineer Nalin. I hope I'm audible and
yes.
Right. Okay.
Please.
Right. Good evening to everyone. And for the today's session, I will share my screen.
And Sanjay, we have to remove this spotlighting as well.
Is it visible now, Nalin?
Yes, Sanjay, it's all good. It's all good. Please go ahead.
Right. Okay. Hope I am audible and visible to all.
Yes.
So let's start with this today's session. So as you all know, now so far we have completed with 3 sessions, as Nalin explained. Now, Professor Attalage, at first, he discussed about the energy performance of the building. So then at the second session, designing of air conditioning systems, and the third session also the MEP design of in projects. So all these are discussed at this all 3 sessions related to especially in the design enrollment. So now today as a MEP contractor, so I'm going to talk about the role of the contractor.
Sanjay, we lost the presentation and I put you spotlight.
Yeah. Right. Hope now it is okay.
No, it's all good. Yes, please proceed.
Right. So today the flow of the session. So first I will discuss give an introduction to the projects and stages of projects. Right. And secondly, MEP projects execution. How we are going to execute the project, including major activities. And at last, testing and commissioning, and how we are going to, especially for a HVAC project, how we are going to conduct the testing and commissioning procedures. First of all, I like to give an introduction with this stakeholders of a project. So as you all know, these are the key stakeholders. There are, if we take any kind of project, so the main stakeholders of the project is the employer, or else we can say developer or end user. So they are the owners, project owners, who sets the project objectives, and they are the paymasters. So we are doing as they want to do with the project, because they are the paymasters and who sets the project objectives or project goals. Then as the project employers there, so they cannot do it alone. So to represent this employer or project developer, they have to employ some architect, consultant engineers, and designers. They are the people who represent the employer and design project as to match all the set objectives. So this is very preliminary things. And again, the contractors, especially main contractor or the civil contractor, as well as the specialist subcontractors or nominated subcontractors. They are the people who work to achieve this set objectives by the employer and this project consultants. As we discussed the stages of a project, mainly we can take into two parts: pre-contract stage and the post-contract. Pre-contract stage is the feasibility studies, design stages, and tender stage. So any kind of employer, before he going to start a project, they are looking at the feasibility of the project study. That means how they are going to implement this project. After implementing, what is the ROI? That means the return on investment period. Again, how we is going to benefit from this project. Then these kind of things, it comes at the preliminary stage. So the feasibility, if it is a viable project, then they are willing to spend on this project. If it is a feasibility only, then they recruit this consultant team or the architect team to design their project. Then the preliminary design is done. Then only they call for the tenders. This all are called the preliminary stage or pre-contract period. Once the tender stage is the tender published, then only the bidders will come and they collect the tender document, and they are bidding for these tenders. So prospective bidders can be identified and shortlisted, and then they will be awarded with the contract that comes under construction stage. So once the prospective bidders are identified, then the employer and this employer's team, they appoint this prospective bidders by the letter of acceptance. So this LOA, after the letter of acceptance, it comes under the contract period. So this is come under the post-contract stages, right? Right. This is the typical sequence of a principal event during a subcontract. Now we discuss about the tender stage. See, this item number 1 says the issuing of the tender document. So at that stage, the preliminary design has been done and it is published to collect to the all bidders. So tender period starts. At that time, the bidders, they have to study the specifications, design guidelines, and all the parameters and site conditions. So everything has to be identified by the bidders. So basically, the tenderer or the bidder, they have to thoroughly study the project content. Then only they have to estimate a proposal with the suitable equipment and the proposal, cost proposal and everything.
Sanjeev,
yeah,
sorry to disturb you at the beginning. Like Sanjay, I think that for me the video is not clear. Is there any other reason? Like if you have opened any other parallel videos, Sanjay, is there any reason for that? I think for the participants as well, there was some the videos are not clear.
How can
Sanjay, are you in?
Yeah, Mr. Daya. I mean that is it Ms. Sanjeev, do you have any other windows open or that optimize still tick there?
I think it has to be
Optimize
it
for
has to-
video. When you're sharing, stop sharing and let's share again with that after
Okay, I'll stop sharing it again.
removing that tick. Optimize for video. Remove that tick.
Yeah, for the presentation, just remove that.
Tick, yes.
All right.
Once you have a video to be played, then that's fine. That's fine. We'll take some time. That's okay.
Yeah.
For me, it's not still clear. I think that the optimizing video part is still there once you're sharing.
How is it now, Nalin?
No, not good.
Still same.
The same, that there was no such difference. I think, can you just stop sharing?
Okay, done.
Then once you go to sharing, is it in the advanced settings, Sanjay, or is it just a setting only?
No. Setting only, just
Once
setting.
you-
Yeah,
once you go-
when you share, click on the share button in the left bottom corner, you have two boxes to tick. One is optimize video, and other is the share sound.
Yeah,
Just
that too is
untick,
removed,
untick both the boxes. When you're playing the
Remove.
video only, you can remove that. Tick, untick.
And is this a PowerPoint or a PDF you're opening?
Now okay. Now fine.
Now okay.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that's now good. Yeah, good. Yeah. Otherwise, your whole homework would be in vain. Otherwise, it's very clear and good.
Right.
I think.
Thank you,
the
Nalin,
audience-
for
Yeah. We'll go ahead. Yes. Thanks. And the audience, please bear with us.
please
Could
bear
have
with
been,
me.
otherwise, yeah, that would be great. Yeah. Thanks, Sanjay. Please go ahead.
I think it's still not in the PowerPoint mode.
Yeah, please put it in the slideshow. Now it's in the slideshow.
Yeah, now it is in the slideshow.
Now it's in slideshow. Yes.
All right. Okay.
Just put enter. Yeah. It will.
Right. Okay. Now, as we discussed now, sorry for the these technical things. I'm sorry, really. Right. For now, this is as we discussed. Now, once this tender document is collected, this tenderer or the bidders has to study thoroughly all the technical things as well as the constraints, especially this technicality. Are they comfortable with the technical things? Are they proven to do it? As well as how these time limitations, and are they capable with financial and all other technical stuffs. So once these things are evaluated, then only the prospective bidders, if they think they can do it, yes, they will participate and they will submission this tender. That means we are come to number 2. At that time, then only this client's representative and client, they will evaluate the bidding proposal. So the prospective bidders, all this, they are shortlisted. They will be shortlisted, and finally at number 3, they will issue the letter of acceptance to the most suitable, or after evaluation, they will find the best bidder to as the subcontract. For this, actually, especially I'm talking about this MEP projects. So they will evaluate thoroughly the capability of the contractors and the financial the strongness. Then once the LOE is granted to the subcontractor, then within the few times, maybe 14 days is normally, but it can be negotiated with the agreement of the subcontractor, they can start the contract period. That's number 4. Then starting from number 4, it will come this contract period. So they have to complete within the specified time duration if the scope is not changed. That then we come to number 5. Then after this remedying and defect liability period. So today we will focus on this, especially this after LOA, letter of acceptance, until the handing over the project. That's the basic idea of this project. So if I go with the Sinhala language, අපි ඇත්තටම ප්‍රොෆෙසර් අතලගේ සර්ගේ සහ අනිත් කට්ටිය කතා කරේ ඩිසයින් ස්ටේජස් ගැන. එතනදී අපි ඇත්තටම කතා කරගත්ත කොහොමද අපි එනර්ජි performance maintain කරගෙන කොහොමද ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් අපි සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්නේ, equipment selection කරන එක especially. එතකොට එයා කන්ඩිෂනින් එහෙම නැත්නම් MEP ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් අපි බාර ගන්නකොට ටෙන්ඩර් එකක් මේක කොන්ට්‍රැක්ටර් කෙනෙක් සිලෙක්ට් කරගනිද්දී ඒ feasibility එක ඒ ටෙන්ඩර් එක කරන්න පුළුවන් නම් අපි ඒක සිලෙක්ට් කරගන්නවා ඒ වැඩේ කරන්න පුළුවන් කියන එක. එතනදී කොන්ට්‍රැක්ටර්ට අමතරව ක්ලයන්ට් ගේ ක්ලයන්ට් ඉන්නවා ක්ලයන්ට් රෙප්‍රසන්ට් කරන්න ආකිටෙක්ට්ලා සහ ඩිසයින් ඉන්ජිනියර්ස්ලා. ඒතර ඒගොල්ලෝ කරන ඩිසයින් එක feasibility එක අනතුරුව feasibility කරාට පස්සේ ඒගොල්ලෝ ටෙන්ඩර් එක පබ්ලිෂ් කරනකොට ඒ ඊට පස්සේ ටෙන්ඩර් එක පබ්ලිෂ් කරාට පස්සේ ඒ තියෙන කන්ඩිෂන්ස් ස්ටඩි කරලා බිඩ් එක සබ්මිට් කරනවානේ. ඒක කරාට පස්සේ අපිට පුළුවන් ඉවැලුවේෂන් කරලා ඒ අදාළ කොන්ට්‍රැක්ටර්ස් තෝරගන්න. බේසිකලි මේ ඊට පස්සේ තමයි කොන්ට්‍රැක්ට් පීරියඩ් පටන් ගන්න. So I think it is very it's normal thing. It can be understood everybody. So let's in general in an agreement, you know, most of the time disagreement can occur due to many reasons. So hence a contract agreement, when you come to the contract administration or project agreement, we have to define the project scope has to be defined very clearly, as well as quality of the work or the performance that has to be specified black and white. Then the time duration also specifically is mentioned. Then the cost, that also in the prime importance. So with the project, so with that contract, this all constraints, when we procure a work or the project in Sri Lankan context, this contract administration can be done with the ICTAD publications. Currently we call it CIDA, Construction Industry CIDA, Construction Industry Development Authority. They have published a book, SBD, the Standard Bidding Document. According to the project value, there are many versions. If it is in international context, we call it the FIDIC contract books. That means International Federation of Consulting Engineers. They have also published, especially for MEP works, this red book. Then the turnkey projects, they have silver book, and plant and design, they issues this yellow color book. So with that, they specify how the project should be administrated, all the constraints, how it procured, how should it, the contractor's responsibilities and the contractor's responsibility, as well as consultants and employers' responsibilities. Everything is well defined. Now, this is the project equation. In any kind of project, these are the parameters. This cost, then the performance or the quality, time, and the scope of work. So there is all are interrelated, and the cost is a function of all three other the parameters or variables. Now let's move to the major activities of a project execution. Now we discuss about the project, how the project is evaluated and awarded to the subcontractor. So suppose now the project is awarded to a contractor. So what are the main major activities of the project, of the main contractor? Then the first thing is the contractor has to identify the right project team. This is very important, because project execution is a kind of teamwork. It is a kind of work that everybody has to contribute their level best, and then only it can be delivered as a good project. Then number two, the smooth transition from the pre-contract stage to the post-contract stage. So I will discuss one by one in later stage. Then number three is preparation of the work program. That's also in a paramount important. Then the submittal approval, we have to take the approval of the equipment and materials. Then preparation and obtaining approval of shop drawings. All are very important things. We will discuss one by one. Coordination drawings, then method statements, procurement, then the installation of services, and they have to maintain the quality assurance procedures and quality controlling methods. Then once we're done, they have to again check with this installation done properly, that we call pre-commissioning checks. Then only the testing and commissioning takes place. And simultaneously, we can make with the as-built drawings, then handing over procedure. Once handed over, the defect rectification period will start, and defect liability period will be counted once the project is handed over. So that's basically this idea. So I will elaborate one by one. So number one, as I explained, the project execution team. So we have to identify the right person for the right task, right job. They have to assign the duties accordingly. We have to then, the organization structure must be prepared with this right person and the right responsibility. They are all personnel. They have to we have to assign their duties with their capacities, and everyone, it should be overlooked by project manager. Then the synergy, that means the power. That is not the physical power, but it kind of mental power within the team, among the team players matters, and that's help to deliver the success of the project. So projects are all about the team working. That's I will share a video here. So just to get an idea about how the teams are working.
Sanjeev, is it played or it's not playing, I believe?
No, not playing. Yeah.
The owners are up.
Is it Nalin okay? Can you?
No, we cannot. I think Sanjay, we cannot, right?
Yeah.
The owners are up. Perfect.
How is Nalin? It's running now.
This looks okay. And Sanjay, can you switch off your video, please? Then I think the bandwidth will support you. Just switch off your video. Your video. Just unmute and muting, and we'll play it.
For you when you get a chance. We'd like it to stir up your cryo tanks.
How good can a team be? Seriously, how powerful is teamwork? Great teamwork. I mean, really ask that question. Who defines the limit? And what if we were to push that edge? Stop to think about this for a moment and realize that every team that accomplished the untouchable, every team that got out there, every team that had done what had never been done before, they all had to break through. They all had to understand that there was this edge. And then they had to challenge the edge. And then they had to break through that invisible line. They all had to do it.
through that group of incredibly talented people, bumping up against each other, having arguments, having fights sometimes, making some noise, and working together, they polish each other. And they polish the ideas, and what comes out are these really beautiful stones.
There's no other way to get through other than challenging your fears. Because in order for teamwork to be at its highest potential, everyone's got to have something on the line. You have to. Otherwise, you're only partway in. At the end of the day, you're going to need to trust those around you. To fully trust. This is about us. And you can count on me. I think about New Zealand, this country with under 5 million people. And they have the best rugby team in the world, the All Blacks. Consistently the best in the world. Or the Apollo mission, a group of people saying, we hear you, we've got you. And all of our talents are on the line to get you home. That's teamwork. Think about the Beatles. All of that music that we know of theirs, all of it, was made in about 8 years. Just 8 years. They were that incredible as a team. Great teams, I mean, they're not about individuals melting into the team. That's the mistake. People hear about the power of teamwork, and they think it's about losing yourself to the singular goal. They think it's about fully giving in to something bigger than you. You don't lose yourself. Great teammates, they don't lose themselves. They stand up. They say, I'm here. They choose to be in, and they choose to play their unique part. That's how it works. So then what's the breakthrough? What did those teams see to unlock the full power of teamwork? You know, that's the hard part. You can't see the edge. You actually don't know where it is until you cross over and look back and see where it was. That's why it's always easier. I mean, it's always easier to catch up than it is to raise the bar. Because the team that broke through, they marked the line. And now everyone else, they just need to get over that mark. The Patriots, Belichick, Brady, I mean, what they've been doing is so unbelievable because they keep raising the bar. They keep nudging it higher. So even if people catch up, it's too late. You know, Steve Jobs and Apple.
For the first time ever, I'd like to let Macintosh speak for itself.
They were operating in this abyss. I mean, they were out there in this vast unknown. So instead of breaking through, instead of seeing the line, you have to forget the line. It's just another limit. The marker in great teams is never external. Because you're out in this unknown. You're out in this unmapped territory. So instead, the power of teamwork comes from a belief. It comes from a mindset. We can't get satisfied by the breakthroughs. We can celebrate them. We should celebrate them, but we can't be satisfied by the limits. That's what humbles me the most about great teams. That's what humbles me the most about the power of teamwork. Because it's almost like you've got to operate in the darkness, knowing you're lighting the path for everyone else, and still heading out there, still pushing that edge. That's how to unlock the power of teamwork.
To copy at the point. And on the board, take
Right. Malin, hope I am audible.
Yes, please go ahead. And the presentation is not shared, Sanjeev, now.
Yeah,
The PowerPoint presentation. I think the key message should be shared in Sinhalese in 1 minute. Then I think everybody would understand the value of the teamwork.
ඇත්තටම මේක මම දාන්න හේතුව අපි ඇත්තටම දැන් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකක් කරද්දී ඩිසයින් කරනවා අපි. ඩිසයින්ස් කළා එතනදී ඊට පස්සේ ගොඩක් ටෙක්නිකල් දේවල් අපි කරනවා. නමුත් අපි සයිට් එකකට ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් එකකට බහිනකොට අර තියෙන දේවල්ම නෙවෙයි අපි ප්ලෑන් කරන දේ නෙවෙයි සයිට් එකේ ඉන්නේ. චැලෙන්ජස් අපි කියන දේවල් නෙවෙයි කරන දේවල් වලට අමතරව අපි හිතන්නේ නැති ගොඩාක් චැලෙන්ජස් එන්නේ. එතනදී අපිට ඉන්න අපි විතරයි. ඒ ටීම් එකක් ඉන්නවා. ඒ ටීම් එකේ මොරාල් එක නැත්නම් ඒ සිනර්ජි පවර් එක අපි ළඟ නැත්නම් අපිට එතනින් ගොඩ ඒමක් නැහැ. ඒතකොට අපි we have to believe ourselves. We have to believe our mates. අපි ළඟ ඉන්න කෙනා අපි විශ්වාස කරනවා. අපි ටීම් එකේ කෙනා ඒ බිල්ඩ් අප් කරගත්තොත් ඒ එනර්ජි එක තමයි අපි ශක්තිය වෙන්නේ. ඒතකොට ඒකට මේ පරාජයක් නැහැ. අපි අනිවාර්යෙන් ජය ලබන්න ඕනි. ඒ ලබා ගැනීම සඳහා එකම විකල්පය ටීම් වර්කින්. ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල් එෆර්ට්ස් අපිට කොහොමත් එකෙන් අපිට ගැලවීමක් ඉන්ඩිවිජුවල් එෆර්ට්ස් වලින් ඒක හොඳයි. නමුත් ඒක සක්සස් එක නෙවෙයි. මොකද මේකේ ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් කියන එක ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් වල වැඩ කරන්න ගියාන් පස්සේ ඒ තියරිටිකල් නොලෙජ් එක සහ ඒ ඩිසයින් නොලෙජ් එක අත්‍යවශ්‍යයි. ඒක තමයි ස්ට්‍රෙන්ත් එක වෙන්නේ. ඒ වුණත් අපිට එතනින් එහාට එතනින් ඒ ජය ගන්නකොට අපි හිතන්නේ නැති ප්‍රශ්නේ නේ අපි ඒ සිටුේෂන්ස් වලදී අපි ඉස්සරහට කතා කරන්න පුළුවන් තව තවත්. ඒ වගේ ඒවට ගොඩ ඒමට අපිට තියෙන එකම ශක්තිය වෙන්නේ ඒ ටීම් වර්ක් කියන එක. මම හිතන්නේ ඒක පැහැදිලි වෙලා මේ ගොඩක් ඒ ප්‍රසන්ටේෂන් ඇත්තට මේ මෙසේජ් එක ඒකයි. ටීම් ප්‍රොජෙක්ට් is always nothing else but team working. Screen එක full පේනවද නේද?
Very good. Yes. Please.
Right. So we discussed about project team. So this is the project organization chart, what we call the project team. So always at the beginning of the project, what we have to do it, we have to assign the project team. So including just this is just a one example only. We have the project managers, project directors, and QA, QC engineers, and all other engineers. The procurement team, safety officers, draftsmen, QS, then the all supervisors, foremen. These are not only the ground level workers also there. So all are the team. So the team synergy must be there. If the team working is there, I'm 100% sure they have to come out with the this all struggles, and they can come up with a proper outcome as expected by this all other stakeholders of the project. Right. Now, as I stated initially, this is the smooth transaction from the tender stage to the contract stage. Because during the tender period, the contractors, the estimation and design team, they thoroughly studied the tender conditions and all the technical things. So they have the idea at the pre-contract period. They are the people, the tender engineering and tendering team. They are the people who have a good idea, good knowledge, and know how about the tender specifications. And now, once this LOA is awarded, that means letter of award is come to the contractor, then if we are going to start it again zero, that the wastage of time and as well as the knowledge also, that's not going to work. So it is must this overlapping the design and estimation team with this project execution team to get an correct picture of the project. That's very important. Then the work program. Work program elaborates all the span of the project duration, including all major activities, then the sequence of the activities, critical path, critical activities, as well as the parallel activities. So this, when we prepare the program, work program, the engineers and the project managers, they know which activity takes when. So everything has to, they have to think in advance. They have to arrange all the workers, all their resources, and the material, labor, and everything, and even the holidays of the in the country, like Single New Year or in Chinese New Year also, as being our main suppliers from if it's foreign import metals are there. So we have to think all those things when preparing the work program to be a realistic project program. So these are the factors, important factors to be considered when preparing the program. The volume of the work, the resources with the timeline, the critical activities, manufacturing lead times and shipping times. And also the main contractors program also, we cannot go alone without the main contractors program. Always we subcontractors or nominated subcontractors, we have to go along with this main contractors program. Right. Then this is an example we prepared, which is done in the local program, a local project. Just to get an idea, this is the work program at project commencement stage. So we have nicely programmed everything there. You just can identify all the works that starting at the project awarding time to the handing over stage. So all the key events and activities are mentioned there. See this preparation and submitting of equipment approval, then the shop drawings, procurement, shipping time, everything is nicely given. And in the red color, you can identify this critical activities. The critical path also can be shown there. And all these resource personnels who are responsible for what is also mentioned in the body. And the sequence of the activities also mentioned. That means the link of these activities are clearly mentioned. So this is actual project we carried out during 2015 years, and see how it going with the timeline, how it works. Here, this update work program with the progress. You can see the activities have been dragged. So that is how the project, even though, see again to the previous work program, see here nicely we have identified all the activities and put with this timeline. But with the timeline, this is how it has happened. So this, as I explained in the previous time, the project activities, always there are unexpected events and activities. So some are totally beyond control of MEP contractors. Sometimes it's totally beyond control of main contractors, like this COVID-19 situation, like that, the economic crisis. So these events are happening in the projects. So that is very natural, quite natural. So contractor's responsibility was if it's a smart contractor, he has to identify things and upgrade the project program as well as the project documentation time to time with this situations, and they have to handle situations wisely. And as a professional contractor, if he is not doing it, maintaining the documents and records, then he is going to lose. Right. Then the equipment and material approvals. When getting the equipment material approvals, these are the important factors. The contractor should have an idea of the design intent, and or else this equipment has to serve the purpose. Then again, verify the compatibility with this applications. For example, if you are taking a hotel, the fan coil units for hotel rooms is ceiling concealed ducted type. So that is very understood and normal things. But if it's an office, you can use the cassette type. So likewise, the contractor also should have an idea the suitability of the equipment when selecting the equipment. It should be complied with the specification given in the tender stage. Also, the fulfill, sometimes there are some specific requirements of the project. So these things also need to be identified. If it is a hospital or else a hotel, there are special requirements of clients. So these things need to be counted by this contractor. Then appearance also need to be, they have to be identified, think of the appearance, need to get the approval from consult architects. Then sometimes if there is the equipment should have the ability to withstand the extreme weather conditions, like if it is in a seashore, coastal area, we have to extremely careful when selecting the equipment. This is shop drawings. Shop drawing is a item that the contractor should it's a kind of document that the contractor is going to expose to the all other parties, stakeholders, their compatibility, their know-how of the knowledge, know-how or the knowledge of this their trade. So it is very important when preparing shop drawing. The contractor they should have a better idea of the design drawings, and this they have to refer latest architectural drawing. Otherwise, so drawings will not suit to the installation. They have to identify the site constraints. Shop drawing means basically this it has to be installed at site with the site situations. Obviously, sites, they have a lot of constraints and other services also. So these site constraints must be identified prior to preparing shop drawings. And also they have to refer the standards or guidelines when they are designing the parameters, like duct. For example, duct when they are doing the duct sizing for HVAC project, they have to consider, they have to be vigilant about this airflow rates, their velocities, pressure drops. These all things, because if otherwise this system will not work at last. Pipe sizing also, these are very primitive things. The contractor cannot ignore these things. Pump head calculation. Then I will discuss these things also. For if it is a fan, this ESP calculations, they have to be identified, and according to the site situation, the contractor must do a verification whether the equipment or these are suited to the actual size situation. Then the installation methods also. In the shop drawing here, the contractor must mention how it's going to install, bracketing and supporting details. Likewise, if it is the sectional details also should be provided if required. For example, if it is inside the ceiling, so level of the duct, if it is going to crash with other services, how we are going to escape it. Likewise, these things must be shown in this as sectional details. Elevation of the details, the bottom of duct, bottom of pipe. If it is a drain pipe, yes, gradient. Then the legend of the symbols that will be shown in the shop drawing. These are the things that contractor should know when preparing the shop drawing. This also a sample example just to get an idea. The first one is a shop drawing showing this. Here, if I get the pointer, this is actually this system is a VRV system, vertical VRV system. This is the indoor unit connected to the ducting system here, and these are the refrigeration pipe coming from this condensing unit supply somewhere here. So all this ducting detail, duct sizing is shown, and this is the unit details. Unit model is given there, and duct sizings and the diffuser sizes, as well as in the sectional detail, you can see this bottom of duct and with the ceiling height, how this it has placed. There are some crossing in that area, how this duct should go with without crossing, without collide with other services. Next. Then so coordination drawings. So coordination drawings also very important, because even though this contractor prepare the shop drawings, it's included only their services, contractor services. For example, it is a HVAC contractor, they included only ducting and piping services. But there are other services also similarly to be added. That means the electrical services, fire, plumbing, and all other data. So many services are there. So it is a duty of main contractor to collect all those job drawings and put in one into one drawing with the proper coordination. So each and every subcontractor has to cooperate with all other subcontractors or else main contractor when they are installation as well as at the job drawing stages. Because once you submit the job drawing, then the main contractor will prepare the job drawing, coordination drawing. Accordingly, the contractor may need to prepare job drawing as to match with these coordination drawings. That's how what happened in the coordination drawing. When preparing the coordination drawings, normally the gravity lines need to get the priority. And the electrical services, normally it's understood that the electrical services shall be installed above the water lines if they are. Then the valves, dampers, filters, they should be provided with an access panel. So this is coordination drawing. So you can identify in the first picture. This is a lift corridor. See how many services are there. If you see this one, you will understand why these coordination drawings are required. There are fire services, there are plumbing, electrical, data, HVAC. All those services are congested in this short area, narrow area. So you can identify the complexity of these services due to the space constraints. So it's the contractor also need to identify what is the sequence of the installation, and that where he need to identify, need to cooperate with other services as well as the main contractor. Then we should have the discipline to not to damage with other services also. That's also very common problem at sites. Yeah. Now this nowadays also this coordination has become a headache for all main contractors and all other service contractors. That's very common. So as of now, they have developed with this BIM modeling. That means the building information modeling softwares are developed. For example, Revit. Nowadays, it is also practicing in Sri Lanka also in few projects. So that's very good. It's very advanced. So once the Revit model drawing is prepared, so the contractor, especially subcontractors, they know where their services are running. So without much damage, without damage to the other services, they can run, and they know when they should come at the site and when they install with the sequence, proper sequence, they can install. Right. Now this is the previous drawing. Once we prepared with the first one is job drawing, and the second one is the job drawing for air conditioning services. The second one is the coordination drawings that include all other services, including fire and plumbing services. Here not included the lighting. They prepared a separate drawing for lighting drawing. Right. Then we move to the method statement. Actually, method statement describe this acceptable ways and means of the installation. Basically, that tells how this trade or one service should be installed in the project. So in preparing the method statement, the acceptable industrial standards and norms shall be followed. Then shall comply with this project specification as well. That's the prime objective. The resources supposed to use shall be elaborated. Safety precautions and the risk need to be identified, and if there's any damage or danger, they have to identify those things, and mitigation plan also to be illustrated in the method statement. So this is basically method statement is a document which elaborate all the steps how this system going to install. For example, if you go take this chill load system, chill load pipelines, the method of install what are the material, what the specification, how to procure, and how you bring it to the site, and how do you store it without damage. All those details included in the method statement. Method පොඩ මම සිංහලෙන් මේක පැහැදිලි කරොත් method statement එක කියන්නේ අපි site එක මේ උදාහරණයක් ගත්තොත් method statement එකේදී පැහැදිලි කරනවා අපි කොහොමද site එකකට ගෙනලා ඒ වැඩේ අපි කරන්න කියන්නේ. ඒක practically වෙන්න ඕනේ. කරන විදිය හරියට පැහැදිලිව තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒතර මේකත් මේ උදාහරණයක් මම ගත්තේ මේ international project එකකින් අපි කරපු දෙයක. ඒකෙදී හැම මේක මම කියන්න යන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද ඒක very clear, it's there. So for the sake of completion I included here, but you can read. I will share the program. ඒකදී අපි ඇත්තටම අපි කරන්නේ කොහොමද මේ වැඩේ කරන්න කියන එක ප්‍රැක්ටිකලි approach එකක් එක්ක should be site specific. ඒකට හරියටම මෙහෙමයි කරන්න කියලා ස්ටෑන්ඩඩ් එකක් නැහැ. අපි site එකට applicably කොහොමද අපි ඒක කරන්න කියන එක step by step පැහැදිලි කරලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. එතනදී වෙන ප්‍රශ්න මොනවද? responsibilities කාගේද? මේ වැඩේ කරද්දී කවුද involve වෙන්නේ? ඒතොර ඒකෙදී safety officer මේ duty එක මොකද්ද? ඊට පස්සේ site engineer මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? project manager role එක මොකද්ද? මේ හැම එකම පැහැදිලි කරලා තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊට අමතරව technicality කොහොමද chiller size pipe නම් එකේ join කරන්නේ කොහොමද? clean කරන්න විදිය. ඊට පස්සේ pressure test කරන්නේ කොහොමද? commissioning stage එකේදී මොකද කරන්නේ? ඒ ඔක්කොම දේවල් ටික පැහැදිලිව තියෙන්න ඕනේ. ඊට අමතරව ඒක මෙතන දෙන්නනේ chiller pipe එක. මේ size එකත් එක්ක ඒකේ weight එක කොච්චරද? water එකත් එක්ක කොච්චර weight එකක් තියෙනවද? insulation thickness එක කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? එකත් එක්ක weight එක කොහොමද? මේ හැම minor detail එකකටම අපි යන්න ඕනේ. මොකද project එක execute කරනකොට මේ හැම එකක්ම matter වෙලා තමයි හැමදේම අපි හිතලා තියන්න ඕනේ. ඒක plan කරලා method statement එකේ include වෙන්න ඕනේ. ඒ වගේ bracket ගහනවා, bracket අතර spacing කොහොමද වෙන්නේ? This everything will be very important factor. Then the project documentation. So project documentation, it is a paramount important to maintain records of project activities, events, and all other special situations taken place during the project period. So recently now, if you consider this COVID-19 situation, it was not expected by anybody. It is unforeseeable situation, but everybody experienced now. But as a result of all those things, now the contractors, they are suffering a lot. It's many ways. I think all of you, they understood and they experienced in this situation, but it cannot be identified. Even the contractor, also this employers, the client also cannot identify. They also cannot even foresee these kind of situations. But as the contractor, all those things, unexpected things, and economic crisis like that, this bomb attack also. So these kind of things nobody can foresee. But if these things happens, the contractor must they should maintain records of all these activities in order to get compensation by means of time, by means of cost. Maybe they have to prove, but this documentation must be there. Otherwise, they will lose at the end of the day. So daily reports, then add weather conditions, manpower status. These are documents. And also RFI means it's a request for information. When the project is carrying out, if the contractor needs some information, he has to request for that information. We call it RFI. RFA means request for approvals. The contractor requires some approvals of, say, for example, some activities, some drawings. He need to get the approvals from the relevant parties, especially from the engineer's approval. Sometimes the contractor, this engineers, they instruct by verbally at site, but these verbal instructions will not, it will not be recorded. So contractors' responsibility is to get this CVIs, that means confirmation of verbal instruction. It's a document. He have to get signed this instruction. Verbal instruction need to be verified by the engineer also. Then progress report and all other delay events must be included this documentation. The consequences of not maintaining proper records. Ultimately, this can be happen. The contractor may lead with liquidated damages. Then they will not eligible for extension of times. Then they will not eligible for time extension related costs. And also there's a bad reputation also will on the contractor side, because if a project is properly handled, this proper documentation must be maintained by the contractor. Now, with that, we will move to the installation of services. So there are some tips I'm mentioned because this is, as Nalin also said, now this is a lot of it's vast area, but total MEP cannot be covered. So I took some specific things as I thought this advisable or it's suitable for this forum to elaborate. So just took some few installation activities. The first one is equipment installation. Especially in projects, HVAC project, we have experience in many projects. This main equipment like chillers and generators, they are placing not only in the basements, sometimes in upper floors also. Some projects, they are not, the building is not already constructed. So at that time, they have to think at first, this how to take the heavy equipment into the plant room. The access path, weight, and the form of the equipment. Sometimes we have to take it by a knockdown form. So it is very important thing to think at in advance how to get this equipment to the place. Then the second one, the vibration arresting. So heavy equipment or sometimes the rotating equipment like pumps, motors are there. So always generating with this vibration. So the vibration must be minimized or arrested without it becomes to hassle to all other. It may be hassle, that may be danger for the building structure as well if you are not arresting it properly. So we using the spring isolators shown in here, this picture. And the second one also a spring isolator, which you mount into ceiling or the soffit. Then this one is neoprene rubber pads, which also used to arrest or minimize the effect of the vibration. Here, another one is the floating concrete plinth. Floating concrete means you can see this drawing here. This is the concrete slab. It mounted this same one, but after a neoprene rubber pad here in color in purple color, we just put another concrete bar here. It is not connection with this the below concrete, so it's floating concrete. So it's very effective method to install the equipment to arrest the vibration. So we have done it in a few projects also. Here, the floating concrete is placed there. This chiller, it's around 200-ton chiller. It is placed in a studio, in a TV station here in Sri Lanka. So weight of the chiller also 2,400 kg. But even though it's placed on the roof of the studio, no vibration at all in the studio. So it's a good method. Again, we have to think about this installation activities. This height of the plinth, concrete plinth. Sometimes we don't think about the, when we are designing this height of the plinth, we have to think about the drain U-trap also. The height of the U-trap is a very important factor to be considered when thinking of this height of the plinth to place this equipment. For example, it's a AHU or indoor unit, it's flow-mounted fan coil units are there. You have to identify, you have to calculate this length of this U-trap Then only it, otherwise that when we are going to correctly sizing this drain trap is very important. Otherwise, unexpected problems are coming. See here, this total length is shown as L, capital L, is the total height of the U-trap. Here, H means this pressure difference between this fan, and J is equal to H by 2 divided by 2. This H is actually, it is a maximum negative static pressure plus 1 inch. This 1 inch is, we have to keep it as a safety margin for a AHU. So I will elaborate it here. You can see this is a draw through type fan coil unit, where this blower is after the coil. So we call it the draw through type. The airflow is coming draw through this coil, so it's draw through one. So in this case, this is the U-trap we have put because the condensation are forming in this coil. So it's a negative pressure inside this coil. So this height L, it should be a bigger value. If it is a other way, it's a blow. You can clearly identify here. See, this is a blow through type configuration where this is the draw through type. We discussed the draw through type one. So where we inside the coil there is a negative pressure coil. So more height required for the U-trap. First one here is very rare in construction for AHUs. Call it blow through. That means in the coil there is a positive pressure, so we can use a less height of the U-trap. But in most commonly you will find it this draw through type where you need a bigger height for this U-traps. So we have to consider when constructing the concrete plinth for this AHUs, it is a important factor to consider this height of the U-trap also. Then improper sizing of drain traps may lead to bad odor in the space, and water backflows into the space through this drain pans, and penetration of insects can happen. It can happen. They can come through these drain lines, and bacterial growth also can be happen, which is a very crucial things in hospital areas. Again, this is drain pipes. When you are considering the maintaining the proper gradient of the drain lines, also very important. Condensation drain line, sometimes it's called 1 to 50, but as a practice, it's sometimes they use 1 to 100 also. But as with this condition, we have to clearly identify the requirement of the drain, gradient of the drain. And sometimes if the drain line is too long in this with the span of the project, frequently the contractor, they must put this vent pipe in order to balance the pressure. Otherwise, even though the drain line is properly sized, the flow will not, the water flow will not happen properly if the pressure is not balanced. So it is important things to practice when the drain network is very long. In few places we have to put this vent pipe. Then we will discuss about the pumps, because now all HVAC projects we are going to install pumps. So for condenser water pumps as well as chill water pumps. So it's a contractor's responsibility to calculate the pump head as to match with the site situation. So they have to identify the critical path of the pipe system, and schematic drawing must be prepared with all equipment, valves, accessories, and all bends and everything to be considered. Even though this pump sizing is done in the tender stage, it has been, engineer has been specified this flow rates and the head. The contractor must verify the values are as per the site situation. Sometimes, according to, for example, if you take this chiller evaporation coil, the pressure drop may be changed from product to product. So this has to be considered by the contractor. The longest path may be varied. So when the installation time comes, it is a responsibility of the contractor to find the critical path and calculate the pump head, and then he has to order with the approval of the consultant. He has to proceed with the procurement. For example, here one of the projects, I just want to show here the schematic diagram of the pump with the this is a chiller, these two are chillers, and this common header with the connection with the old chilled water pumps and all interconnect. And this is the 7-story building here, and the pipe network elaborates here. So the critical path is obviously this topmost path, and again he has to consider the terminal equipment, AHU, or maybe a fan coil unit at the longest path. All this path bends and all these valves and pump headers and everything, this including this chiller evaporator coil pressure drops, and everything must be considered when sizing the pump. Then again, when you install the pumps, it's also need to identify this NPSH. NPSH means net positive suction head. So there are two terms. One is NPSHA and other one is NPSHR. NPSHR means net positive suction head requirement. That's a property. It is defined by the manufacturer, pump manufacturer. It's a requirement of pump to be operated smoothly. But NPSHA is net positive suction head available. So this availability is it depends on the site situation, site condition. So this NPSHA value must be a higher value than the NPSHR. So NPSHA can be calculated with this simple formula, but it has to be calculated at site as per the site requirement. Otherwise, sometimes there may be problems with the after installation. So at that time, nothing can be done. So contractor must be vigilant in the selecting the pumps. Here also one example of NPSH calculation. I just show here. It is calculated. There's here I explain this H1 NPSHA. The H1 is the atmospheric pressure, and HSS is the static head. Sometimes it may be a positive value, sometimes may be a negative value. In the picture here, the flow, it is pump is above the water flow. Here the so the SS static is a negative value. And the HF is the friction loss from the this water point to the pump suction. So it can be calculated. HVP is the vapor pressure that can be in this kind of application, it can be ignored. Very small value. Here also the practical example, we calculated this NPSHA value with the requirement of the pump. Again, this when we are going to the riser pipe installation, it's very vital to identify this thermal expansion of due to the temperature difference. That means if it is a high-rise building, contractor must pay attention. This expansion, thermal expansion value for the pipes, riser pipes. It can be calculated very simple. This formula is we have done, everybody has been done. I mean, studied. Delta L is equal to the alpha times L times delta T. So alpha is the thermal expansion coefficient. So for example, here, see this, if you consider a 15-story building in Colombo area, which is having a chill water riser out of black steel pipes, schedule proof. See now that we can consider this 15-story means 50-meter height. For steel, this alpha thermal expansion coefficient of thermal expansion is 1.0 2 into 10 to the power minus 5. And delta T, if it is chilled water circuit, we can consider as 33 minus 7. So accordingly, the expansion, we have to keep accommodate this expansion of 15.6 millimeter expansion. So we have to keep the provision for that one. So there are thermal expansion joints are there. So we have to, it says it is a, because I have in many projects, I have noticed sometimes it is a, sometimes the consultants also, these contractors, they have no proper idea of this thermal expansion for prices. So just consider this example number 2, the same building with this HDP, that means high density polyethylene material. Because nowadays, these HDP pipes are very popular in the HVAC industry also. So if you use this HDP pipe for the same riser, you will identify this, the thermal expansion, linear thermal expansion is 195 millimeters. That's a huge value compared to the steel pipe. It's almost 9 times high than this steel pipe. So obviously, there should be some mechanism. They have to address this issue when the installation these riser pipes. This is my experience in Singapore, Marina Bay Sands building, which has a 53-story building. So here, this they use this thermal expansion joints into their riser pipes, so as to accommodate this possible expansions. This also using the chill water pipes. So it's very vital. And also for the proper operation of the chill water circuit, they must identify the if the air is trapped in the closed circuit, so you will not experience the proper cooling. So air release must be done the proper way in all the chill water pipe risers. So all the risers, as shown in the picture, the automatic air release valves are fixed. It's very important. And also it's advisable install chill water branch pipes with the slant gradient towards the fan coil unit if it is a riser pipe, because in the each and every fan coil unit you can release the air. So the branch pipe from the riser to the indoor unit must be with the gradient, slant gradient, slight gradient. Then all the air will be come up with this, can be released from the terminal fan coil unit. Then as we did like the pumps, fans also need to be considered, because fans, even though the consultants, they designed the fan, they sized the fan, with the size constraints, the path may be changed. So it is also a responsibility of contractor to calculate the external static pressure of the fan as per the actual site situation. Also need to consider the critical path. So with this proper schematic drawing, all the components of the system, it must be done. Here also just an example of how to calculate the external static pressure of the fan, this is also the practical experience also we done. So all the components here, if I elaborate here, this schematic diagram shows the fresh air lower here, then the reducers. This is a sound attenuator here. This is a flexible connection here. This is the fan. Then also all this here reducers and all this pipe connection here with this bends and all branch pipes are there, but he is only considered this a critical path. So here the shown table is the method how to calculate the ESP of each part, and at last they find this ESP of the fan as calculate 130 Pascal. So this is just I want to show, not to calculate here, But this is a good practice. As a contractor, it's just not to follow the engineer's instruction. Contractor also must have the design knowledge. Contractor also must have the knowledge of the products, how to select the product properly. These are very, as a professional contractor, these are matters. And installation service of a AHU or fan coil unit. Here, a typical fan coil unit is shown. So just I want to show this supply and return pipes with this valve arrangement. The red color one is the chill load supply pipe. Here, the first one is there is the isolation valve, then strainers. If it is not mandatory, fine. Say now, if we are filter all this chill water through this strainers at the pump, if you are guaranteed there is no debris on the system, so you can remove it. But as it is not a mandatory item, but can be installed. Here, this item is the BTU meter, but in Sri Lanka, normally we are not putting this here. Then thermostats, temperature gauges, and these unions. In return line, you can see, in addition to those things, this motorized valve plus auto flow valve. Recently, you can remove these two and you can add this PIFC valve, called this pressure independent flow control valve. This the same duty of this motorized valve plus flow balancing valve will done by this PIFC valve. Excuse me. Right. Next, if you take a fan coil unit also, sorry, this is a fan coil, this is AHU. It's also similar, almost similar, but there are some small changes here. Motorized valve, red color one here also supply one. Return is the blue color one is the return pipe. Almost similar. AHU piping also. Here also installation of this oil traps. If it is a air-cooled system, especially air-cooled package units, it's very vital, very important to install these air traps, oil traps. If the height difference is between the indoor and outdoor units are considerably height, say for example 10 above than 10 meters, it is a must to install these oil traps in order to prevent the damages to the compressors, because it can be damaged without oil. If oil transfer to the indoor unit, if the oil traps are not sized properly, not installed properly, then the oil will not return to the compressor, resulting the cease of the compressors. Then also this installation of control and power service. I'm not going to elaborate much here because I'm not an electrical engineer, but I know the importance of the electrical and control installation, because even though we discuss about this advanced technologies and power savings and other things, so all things are related to the controls and power. So installation of the control and power is very much essential in order to achieve those savings from units. So very basic thing here, ensure all uninterrupted power and safety measures to be provided in panel. For example, for this PFR earth fault relays and phase failure relays like this. Then the earthing. Then the controls to be installed as to logical sequence of the operation and energy saving concerns are met with. That's how we are going to save the energy by installing the proper controls. Then pre-commission checks. The pre-commission checks are the where we can minimize our errors in installation. So very important, because I think if it's a proper contractor, it's a very important and it's a must to be done a proper pre-commissioning checklist. the advantages of pre-commissioning is to ensure the installation is done according to the standards quality, or else the manufacturer recommended quality. Then, if it is not done properly, this manufacturer's warranty will be nullified. The guarantees will be avoided. And again, it is a chance to rectify installation mistakes prior to commissioning. So these are very important. Here also I put a list, but I am not going to read it considering the time limitations. But it's a very simple thing with the format for each and every equipment can be done. Very easy thing. But the contractors should have this practice to do after installation of each and every equipment or services. It's very important because it is there are a lot of guidelines how to do this pre-commission checks. As if it is practicing properly, the benefit definitely can get by this contractor. And the testing and commissioning also, I will rush through because considering the time also. These are the testing equipments and tools. These are considered the HVAC commissioning. The first one is the anemometer we use to check this velocity of the air. And this balometer is a measure to measure the flow rates for diffusers. And digitally you can see the values. And the pitted tube also used to check the static pressure as well as velocities of ducts. When duct traversing us there, they use to get the precise values, readings. The precision hygrometer is the digital meter device where you can get precisely temperature as well as the relative humidity. This digital tachometer is the one to get the speed of the motors. Multimeters, and the ultrasonic flow meters used to measure the flow rates through these pipes. And the manifold gauge sets. These are only very few items are mentioned here. And testing commissioning also, it's a very important thing as far as the project is concerned, where the contractor can show this equipment provided or supplied by him are properly functioned. Where the the employers represented, the contractor also take part, then they can witness the performance are there. Here, I just include the example where a third-party testing and commissioning was taken place when I was in Bandaranagar International Project. It was done by NEBB. That means National Environmental Balancing Bureau of USA, certified company. The third party selected by the Shin company was this party from Singapore. So we carried out a third party inspection for this HVAC system. Actually, the third party inspection is just to verify the performance of the equipment, not to review the design. So at the third party inspection, it's just to verify the selected equipments are performed properly. So here we took up the schematic diagram. I think you can see AHU is numbered here, and the performance, to check the air performance, you consider the supply air here, test point 1, and test point 2 is for the return air, and the other one is number 3 is the treated fresh air from this primary air unit. So if you take this table, you will see this is the for supply air, HU supply air, and the supply air duct size is given here 1200 by 400. So in this, I think this. If it is a 1200 means it's quite a big duct. So they have taken 6 points to get the speeds of the airflow, and 4 heights. Altogether 6 by 4 means 24 points. They have taken the speed of the airflow and average it, taken as 7.03 meters per second. and this airflow rate is calculated as 12,148. Whereas the required rate, as per the design, is mentioned here. The required velocity is 7.5 meters per second, and this required flow rate is 12,960. So that is the drivers. That's the readings. It's mentioned there. This there's other two diagrams are also for return air and fresh air. I'm not going to elaborate. You just think about this supply flow rates. Right. Next, this is static pressure report. Here you say P1 and P2. That's the pressure difference in between filters, and the P3 is after the coil and P4 after the fan. So all the pressure readings are taken from the feeder tube, and all are tabulated here. And at last, as a summary, you given all those things. This is a design volume, and whereas you get the volume of 94%. So it is done there, and the is recommendation also given in separately. But the idea is to check the performance of the air handling unit against the design values. So if it is a 10% toleration, so it is acceptable as per this condition given in NEBB. So I think I done almost all the things. So as the contractor, I think it's now I discuss about the role of the contractor. So as a summary, I can say this contractor as a contractor. So these are the value, these important things to consider as a professional contractor. So always think about this value engineering proposals. That means sometimes the contractors are moving these new products, technologies. So always they can provide, they can suggest the more effective solution as to match with the employers or else the client's requirement. As well as the cost controlling and saving methods, and always coordinating with all other disciplines. And to be successful in the project, I like to emphasize to being a real team player or as a team leader. That's it, Malin.
Yeah, thank you, Sanjeev. And I think you can take few questions if the audience have something.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, we'll put the attendance sheets very soon, and we have seen a number of participants at the last moment. They came in maybe to mark the attendance, and we have seen a number of improvements. So if you have any genuine questions, like you can, Sanjay, can we give opportunities for those who wish to ask their questions, and you can put your hand raise if you have a question, then we can give opportunities for under the basis of first in, first serve.
Yeah,
Sanjay, do you have any hand raised?
Still no hand raised, and we have opened the chat box also now.
Yes, okay. And please don't put the messages saying thank you once you have the chat box open. Appreciate your concern, and please don't put unnecessary messages. Don't put thank you messages, and please don't put your names, details. Sanjay, shall we switch off this chat box? I think it's people cannot understand what we are talking about.
Yeah, done.
Yeah, please remove these messages. And if you have any question, please raise your hand. We can give straight away the opportunity if you have anything to be clarified. And till we move in, Sanjeev, that like especially there are some new engineers. I think there are many of these. There are a few undergraduates here, and there are new engineers, professionals here. So I would like to highlight, because I could remember when we started our career back in maybe long time ago, we thought that, okay, you are a mechanical engineer, I'm an electrical engineer by profession. So we thought that my profession is the best profession. But when it comes to, as you well mentioned about, especially the coordination drawings, and once somebody installed before somebody else, there would be a lot of big issues for the whole project. So how you see this, and most probably what we have to talk about is attitudes and respect to other disciplines. and how you see with your experience the repercussions, and what is your message and the advice or your comment, especially for this younger generation?
Yeah, Nalin, actually, a very valid question, because at the site projects also we see a lot of impatience with these trades. So it's paramount important to respect other services as well, because that's only then only we can to find, and end of the day you can, if you are going to, I mean, if you're not properly coordinate with all others and not respecting to others, then end of the day you are also going to lose. So it is as you correctly say, we have to do our work, our job. That's no doubt. We have to do our work at the best level of best. That's no doubt about it. But same time, we have to respect. We have to think of other services as well. Otherwise, we are going to damage other services. Sometimes they are going to damage our services. The proper coordination in between contractors as well as the team among the contractor also very important. So and also it's, I think, kind of a discipline. Think of patience, a kind of a personal attitude to draw with ourselves to coordinate and to be succeed with yourselves as well as far as concerned our project completion. So it's very important.
Thank you, Sanjeev. And Sanjay, I think we can share the attendance sheet as well to those who wish to mark their attendance. Meantime, we have two hand raised. One from Roger.
Hi, hello.
Hi. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to know whether are there any software used for ESP calculations and the pump head calculations?
Yeah, actually, there are some pumps. There are softwares to calculate ESPs. There are Excel formats also. So, if you wish, I would like to. I will share with you. Be with the context. So I will share those things. No problem.
Okay.
Yes, Sanjay, yeah. Sanjay, please share those details, and we can put across these WhatsApp links.
Yeah, sure. No
and we have one of our familiar participant, Eranga Vitanagi, is here. Eranga?
Yes, Engineer Nalin, Engineer Sanjeev, can I audible to you?
Yes. Perfectly okay. Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. Thank you very much for your time, Engineer Sanjeev, and just wanted to check about authority. I kind of like authority involvement in Sri Lankan construction industry context. Now, how it will be work? Now, actually, I'm joining to the CPD from UAE. Now, when we talked about authority involvement in here, it is very significant. Like there are specific team to handle the authority approvals and authority submission, and those things are very critical, Sanjeev. So how it will work, like with the Ceylon Electricity Board, maybe water board, or we call it sometimes service providers, telecommunication, and maybe Colombo municipality, kind of like how this this type of approval, or still there is specific approval to be obtained, or how that type of work is going on in Sri Lanka, Engineer Sanjay?
Right. I'm clear about your problem here. The question, actually, the Engineer Ranga, now here I know about the fire department. The authority, their approval is a mandatory in a building to be get constructed. But with I also know this the CEB also. I know the authority must be taken. Yet I think Nalin, Engineer Nalin, may be known than me. But actually, to be frank, I'm not very much this touch with those fields, because as per the contractor, we are not much dealing with these authorities. Mainly the client and these architects or these engineers are the client's engineers are dealing with those authorities.
Yes, and just to add something, Sanjeev and Erang, that yes, as Sanjeev well mentioned, that those are mostly taken care of by the client. So most probably the client representatives are mostly by the architects or the project management unit, where they take this CEB. Most of the time, CEB is something like you have to get the power supply agreement, where you have to make the demand letter, and then you have to get this approval. But all those approvals are mostly handled by the client representative, and there should be some more approvals, like for example in the Colombo municipality or UDA, you have to get other approvals, and also water supply. And sometimes in special places, like in the places like the hotel areas, like tourist areas, so you have to go with the SLTDA, Sri Lanka Tourist Board's approval, and sometimes Puritas or something. If you need to discharge your disposals or drainage or sewer, still there are certain approvals, especially in the tourist governed areas. So that's how it works in this part of the country. It may not be like DEWA in Dubai, Electric Water Authority in Dubai or something, but it's not under one roof. Still in the Sri Lankan context, you have to go and knock every door just to get these things approved. Thanks, Hanji and Irang. And there are few more hand raised as well. Mohammed Siddiqui. Mohammed Siddiqui, you can raise your question, and please.
Yeah, good evening, sir.
Yeah, please try to be so brief. And
am I audible?
Yes, please go ahead. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a mechanical consultant. As you said, it is a difficult part to produce the coordination drawing. As a consultant, when we go out for inspection, we find more coordination issues with other disciplines. As the contractor, they keep installing based on respective shop drawings. For example, the detectors are installed by the electrical team, and then the ducts are installed below the detectors because there are no coordination drawings by covering the detectors. So how important for a contractor to produce a coordination drawing to avoid such abortive works? Why the contractor is avoiding to produce this in early stage?
Actually, to be here now, this the coordination drawing, normally it has to be done by the main contractor, not by the specialist subcontractor. But it is a specialist subcontractor must coordinate or cooperate with this main contractor, as well as the architects, all other service providers also, to make this coordination drawing. That's how it should happen. But it's not a mandatory requirement to prepare the coordination drawing by the specialist subcontractor. So I think it is the engineer to the project must be intervened, and he has to provide this the solution with the help of the main contractor. I think.
Yes, that's
okay.
Yeah, this is a good concern, and also I think this is one of a burning issue when you're in the project sector. And I think the BIM, what you have mentioned here, building information modelings, would be one of the key response or key solution for those day-to-day, like especially we know that in when it comes to coordination drawing, number one is you prepare a coordination drawing, but simply sometimes the other contractors are not following those coordination drawings.
Yes,
Shall
correct.
you go ahead?
Correct. Yes.
Shall you go ahead with
explain,
Hafil?
Yes, good evening.
Good evening. Yes, please.
I am a fresh mechanical graduate, and I am interested in HVAC field. So from where I have to start?
Has you passed out? Has you passed out? Or how?
Yes,
you just
I am able to pass out in 2 months.
2 months time, right? Still you are an undergraduate, right? I think. Yes. Have you completed your implant training in the organization with relevant experience, or how is it?
In a not relevant field, in automation field.
Yeah, I think Nalin, we can get his contact details, and we will see how we can take his concerns. Because if there is a chance, we can help you.
Yes, and you can forward your CV, and see, in my personal advice is please try to find a place where you can work, and please don't try to find places where you can relax yourself. As young, budding, or just passed out engineers, please don't consider about the financial benefit at the very beginning. Please try to find a place where you can work, involved with some good works, and don't try to look for bigger companies, but look for a good boss or a good supervisor to work with. And that's my gut feeling and my message. And please share your CV. Definitely we can help you out by at least giving you a good opportunity to practice yourself and start practicing under good engineers. Joga Prajapan.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, please go ahead.
My question is, when we are doing this commissioning testing for the HVAC or some electrical work, is it required to do the commissioning and testing at the end of the testing part? At the end of, we have to do the step-by-step checking, because lecturer, you mentioned that this commissioning will be done by a third party. When we are hiring the third party, it will they will come at the end of the part. So how this testing is preferred?
Sorry, I think you have misunderstood this. This actually third party inspection is not a mandatory one. It's a responsibility of the contractor, not a third party responsibility. It's if it's a requirement, it should be mentioned by the it's a requirement of an employer, not the contractor. If it is required, it has to be stated by the employer, not by the contractor, right? So I just mentioned as a to share my experience only. But anyhow, the testing and commissioning is a part of contractor's responsibility. Then actually it is a process. Testing and commissioning not a one stage activity. It's a process. If you can do it earlier, yeah, that's the best thing. You have to do it along with this. For example, you take a pump. The pump commissioning must be done once the piping circuit is done and the water flushing must be done. Then is the proper power supply is given by this electrical team. Then you have to pre-commission to check all the installation is done correctly. Then you can do it individually with the help of your pump manufacturer. It has to be done like that. But the final stage, you have to show it to the other parties, like the engineers and the consultants. That's how it happens. It's not an individual activity. It's a process.
Is this the one that contract, that means it's a design and build, this kind of process is followed, or if a consultant designed and the contractor has to do the only work, that how this will work?
No. Even though it is a consultant designed project, it is a responsibility of the contractor, the professional contractor, to verify this proposed supplied equipment by the contractor is working properly as to match with the site condition. So, for example, the contract, this in a project initially, this consultants, they specify all the values for the pump. For example, pump capacities are given. Pump that means the flow rate and head specifically mentioned. But as to the match with the site condition, we have to verify it. That may be changed. Sometimes it may be correct. The value may be differ much, but anyhow, the contractor has to verify it. It's a good practice. Otherwise, sometimes if the performance is not there, it's a responsibility of the contractor as well. I think I answered your question.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Can you go to Madhushankar? Madhushankar?
Sir,
Yes, okay.
මට දැනගන්න සර් ඩක් සයිස් කරන්නයි පයිප් සයිස් කරන්න එක්සෙල් ෆෝමැට් එකක් තියෙද කියලා.
ඔව් තියෙනවා අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන් මොනවාට මේ ඒක තව ඒක ඇත්තටම කරන ක්‍රමයක්ත් තියෙනවා. ඒක ඩක්ට් එකේ මැටීරියල් එක මොකද්ද? පයිප් එකක් මැටීරියල් එක මොකද්ද? ඊට අමතරව ඒක ඇප්ලිකේෂන් එක
සංජීව මම ඇහුවේ එක්සෙල් ෆෝමැට් එක. අපි කියනවා වෙන සොෆ්ට්වෙයාර් එකක් කියන්නේ මේ යන්නේ එක්සෙල් ෆෝමැට් එකක්. ඒ කියන්නේ මේ මම හිතන්නේ කස්ටමයිස් කරපු ෆෝමැට් එක නේ.
ඔව්.
එහෙමද කියන්නේ සංජීව?
Excel format එකකම නෙවෙයි හැබැයි ඒක softwares තියෙනවා මට share කරන්න පුළුවන්. ඒකදී ඩක් size කරන knowledge එක වට තියෙන්නත් ඕනේ basically. කොහොමද ගන්න parameter
theory knowledge එක.
අපිට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. මම ඇත්තට මේක brief කරේ වාට interest එකක් තියෙනවා නම් ඔය මේ දෙනොත් නම් ඒක share කරන්න පුළුවන් නලික ප්‍රශ්නයක්.
ඔව් සර් මම interest තියෙනවා. කොහොමද ඒක මේ ගන්නෙ අපි? සර් contact කරගන්න.
සංජීව අපිට දෙන්න අපි link එකක් අපි share කරමු සංජීව.
Right. We will you be within this group, I think. Nalin, is that the way?
Yes. You can. Are you in a WhatsApp group, Masanka?
Oh,
Okay. Well, group එක ඉන්න අපි link එක share කරන්නම්. ඔයාලට special link එක download කරගන්න හරි මොකක් හරි බැරි වුණොත් එහෙම කියන්න මේ අපි advice guide කරන්නම් කොහොමද කරන්න. Please be in touch with the WhatsApp groups with the updates.
Sir, red book කියලා sir කිව්වේ අර මේ presentation එක අතරතුර ඒක ගන්න පුළුවන්ද අපිට?
Red book කියන්නේ
FEDIC එක කියන්නේ.
FEDIC එකද?
ඔව්.
ඒක අපි ඒකත් මම හිතන්නේ share කරා වගේ මට මතකයි. පොඩි message එකක් දාන්නකෝ අපි share කරන්න. ඒක අපි කලින් කතා කරේ contract administration එකේ.
හරි okay sir. Thank you.
Right, now it's almost 9:30. Krishna Prabha will try to wind things up as soon as possible. Krishna Prabha?
Yeah. Hi. I would like to ask about this the contractual terms, like as you mentioned in SPD and FEDIC. Normally, do we use FEDIC in Sri Lanka or only the SPD?
Both are using in Sri Lanka. It has to be specific in the contract bidding document. It has mentioned, so we have to follow accordingly. In some bidding document, it's mentioned we have to follow this SPD2, SPD1, like according to the contract value. It's mentioned there. Or else, in some project also they are using this FEDIC forms also. FEDIC books also we are following.
So actually, that normally I heard about the SPD we are using, that the main contractor for all civil works. So it is the same thing for MEP, or is there any categories, or is there any sub clause inside the SPD? Like you mentioned in the FEDIC, there's a red book. Same as the SPD also have some.
Yeah. SPD also have, I think, few like I think public 8 or 9 publications are there, depending on your nature of the project and the value of the project. There are different publications. For example, if your project value is bigger than 100 million, you have to follow SPD 02. If it is in between 10 million and 100 million, then you have to follow SPD 3. Likewise, it is a design and build project, SPD 4. There are publications, several publications there.
So in this case, that the cost concern we do for MEP things, so we have to consider the full project budget or MEP budget.
I did not get your point exactly.
I mean that SPD 1 to have some that budget allocation limit. No, so it's depend.
Yeah. It's like this now. If it's the employer decide to contract only this so for example the electrical all MEP works, if we're trying to find a contractor for all those MEP works, we have to consider that value. If it is exceeding 100 million, then we have to go with this SPD2. It's like it's just a guideline with the volume of the work. You have to find the right publication.
Generally it goes with the civil contracts. So mostly that it comes under the main contractor's package. And as Sanjeev mentioned, that if it is a dedicated MEP package exceeding 100 million, then you have to think of the type of the contract. Right.
Thank you.
Okay, and we are almost done with the hand raise. Sanjay, do we have any more hand raise?
No, Mr. Nalin, everyone has answered.
All right. Okay. Thanks. And one.
There is another one. Ransi
Hettige. We'll have this as a final question, please. Ransi Hettige. Please ask your question.
You can ask the question.
Is she muted?
No, he's unmuted. You can ask the question.
Francie, please ask your question. Maybe mistakenly she has put her hand raised.
No, I'm audible.
Yeah. Please go ahead. We cannot hear properly. ඉස්සෙල්ලා පොඩ්ඩක් අපිට ඇහුණා දැන් ඇහෙන්නේ නැතුව තියෙන මොකද වගේ devices වල ප්‍රශ්නයක් දන්නේ දැන් ඇහෙනවා කියන්නේ
අර thermal expansion joints කියන මට සෙනග තියෙන්නේ අපි මේ ජෙලුවට රිටර්මේට් ටෙම්පරේචර් එකත් එක්ක ප්‍රෙෂර් එකත් උදාලා expansion tank එක මිස් කරනවා මට දැනගන්න සංජීව ඒකම අර එකම pressure vessel එකෙන් විතරක් ඒක
රාන්සි මට ඔයාගේ ප්‍රශ්නය හරියට ඇහෙන්නේ නැහැ.
සංජය අපි පොඩ්ඩක් මෙයාට opportunity එකක් දෙමුද chat එක use කරන්න. රාන්සි very briefly chat එකට දාන්න අපිට විනාඩි 5ක් තියෙනවා කතා කරන්න. very quickly දැන් මොකක් හරි expansion tank එක ගැන තමයි
මට ඒක
ඔව්. Okay, until she get her answer typed maybe through WhatsApp or through chat boxes. Let's have our conclusive messages. And Sanjeev, I think it's highly appreciated with your contribution, and you have shared a lot of information, not just the technical matters, theoreticals, but your experience is, I think, the most important part where no one can have it from the books. I think Ransi's question is here right now, and it says as thermal expansion joints for riser and expansion tanks are both for the same purpose. Expansion tanks. Also, we have the
thermal expansion joints for risers and expansion tanks are both for same. No, I think මේක එයාට වැරදි. මේ thermal expansion joints එක දාන්නේ risers වලට දාන්නේ. ඒ linear thermal expansion එක ඒ කියන්නේ ඒක accommodate කරන්න තමයි දාන්නේ. temperature difference එකක් තියෙද්දී අපි දන්නවා ඕනම material එකක් temperature difference එකට react කරනවා. temperature වැඩි වීමක් නම් ඒ length එක වැඩි වෙනවා. ඒ වැඩි වෙන length එක absorb කරගන්න accommodate කරගන්න පුළුවන් විදිහට joint එකක් අපි දාන්නේ. ඒක දාන්නේ temperature difference එකට. expansion tank එකක් දාන්නේ expansion tank කියන volume fluid volume එක වැඩි වෙනස් වෙනවා. ඒක absorb කරගන්න අපි expansion tank එකක් දාන්න ඕනේ. ඒක pressure එක අපි මේ difference ඒ කියන්නේ pressure එක bladder type expansion tanks තියෙනවා. එහෙම ඒතර ඒක දාන්නේ අපි ඒ fluid expansion එකට accommodate කරන්න. මම හිතනවා ඒක වෙන්නේ නැති අහන්න නැත්te එකම purpose එක නෙවෙයි purpose දෙකක්. ඒ දෙකම තියෙනවා.
So is thermal there's another one from the same participant. Is thermal expansion joint is compulsory? Can we proceed without it? It should be compulsory, right? Especially with the
depend on the height. Yeah, depend on the height of the building. If it is a 4-story or 5-story building, if it is also the thermal expansion coefficient is a very low value, still like steel pipes, it can be you can ignore it, because even though we did not mention, if the temperature difference, the building also expand. With I think it is a below 5 or 6-story building, it's not a mandatory. But with the especially with the value alpha value, that means thermal expansion coefficient of the material, it will depend, and the height of the building also you have to consider.
And there was another question: what are the intervals of installing it? I think you have to do a proper calculation for that.
Yeah, it has to be calculated.
Okay, thanks Sanjeev, and thanks all the participants. And as I mentioned, that today is the last day of this particular CPD program only, but please be in touch with these other communications as well. And Sanjeev, again, thanks a lot for all your preparation, dedication, and especially in a Sunday evening, spending closer to 3 hours time with us, and especially to give this your service to all this, especially the people who have this interest. And do you have anything to, even in English or English, you can just give some final remarks?
Oh, නලින් අතරම මෙහෙම මේක opportunity එකක් මට දුන්න විදිහට මම ස්තුතිවන්ත වෙනවා. මොකද මේක අපි දන්න මොන හරි දෙයක් තියෙනවා නම් අපි perfect නොවෙන්න පුළුවන්. නමුත් දන්න දේ share කරන්න අපි කැමති ඕන ලාවක. ඒත් එක්කම young engineersලා මට එක දෙයක් අපිට කියන්න පුළුවන්. මෙහෙම අපි අර මම දකිනවා දැන් අලුතෙන් එන engineersලා සමහරුන්ගේ හැමෝම නෙවෙයි. ගොඩක් අයගේ සමහරුන්ගේ තියෙන එකක් අර ඒගොල්ලෝ quickly මොන හරි දෙයක් ලබා ගන්න ලොකු පෙළඹීමක් තියෙනවා. අර ඩෙඩිකේෂන් කියන එක ඒ තියෙන වෘත්තියට තමන්ගේ දෙන කැපවීමට ලොකු තැනක් දෙන්නේ නැති ගතියක් මම දකිනවා. නමුත් ඒක අපි වෙනස් කරගත යුතුයි. young engineersලා you have to earn things with your capitalization. වැඩක් කරලා ඒ දේ earn කරගන්න ඕනි. ඒක බැරි නැහැ පුළුවන්. අනික දැන් අපි ඉන්න මේ ස්ටේජ් එක ගත්තොත් අපි crucial stage එක මම කියන්න ඕනේ මේ වෙලාවේ හැමෝටම අමාරු ඇති. ඔය ජොබ් එකක් වුණත් අපි කරන එක ටිකක් කැපවීමෙන් තමන්ගෙන් ආයතනයේට ලැබිය යුතු දේ ගැන හිතලා අපි වැඩිපුර වැඩ කරොත් අනිවාර්යෙන් සක්සස් මේ අපේ ජයග්‍රහණය එහෙම නැත්නම් සාර්ථකත්වය කරා ළඟා වෙන්න පුළුවන් කියන මැසේජ් එක මට දෙන්න පුළුවන්. ඒත් එක්කම අපි අර අපේ network කියන එක අපි connections build up කරගන්න ඕනේ. මොකද මේ අපි අමාරු කාලෙක ඉන්න නිසා රටම ඒක තුලින් අපි කොහොමද අපි individually අපිට සාර්ථකත්වයට ළඟා වෙන්නේ කියන එක සහ රටක් විදිහට සමාජයක් විදිහට අපි මීට වඩා හොඳ තත්ත්වයකට ගෙනියන්න අපේ තියෙන අපි මේ සම්පූර්ණ strength එක අපි පාවිච්චි කරන්න ඕනේ කියන මම යෝජනා කරනවා. අපි as industrial persons we are here to help everyone as to the level best we can. Thank you, Nalin.
Thank you, Sanjeev, and thank you very much, and thanks for your kind words. Actually, it's all about our teamwork, and as you will mention, even in your presentation itself, it's teamwork, and you simply cannot survive individually at the same time, especially when you are in trouble and when you are in difficult times. Obviously, we have to get together and share our resources, share our knowledge, and share our strength. So altogether, it becomes the synergy, as you mentioned in your presentation itself. It's all about the synergy. With that remark, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for being with us for the last couple of hours. And as I mentioned, this is just the completion of 4 days only. But what we recommend is to be in touch with any means of communication. And we will definitely do our best to give to the society. At the same time, there could be a lot of opportunities to share among us. And especially, as I mentioned, that when it's in a tough time, definitely we have to work as a team and a group so that ultimately we can come to a better results. Thank you very much, all the participants, and especially thank you very much for those who are behind the camera and behind these technical aspects, especially Sanjay, Danushka, and the team from the Magnus Academy. And with this remark, myself, Nalin De Silva, is signing off and wishing you a good night and have a pleasant evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Ali.